Every week, one 8-hour video will be uploaded. All novels uploaded here are completed, so you will get a full story without searching or waiting. I have listened to the translated version on web, and there are no major problems with translation. If you want Chinese novel translated, give me the original name of the novel and I will respond to your request as soon as possible. Please make sure your request is on the latest video. If you hear this "u" sound in the novel, it means either question mark or some space is left, like getting materials or experience gain there more but not shown. If after a name is used and after there is silence, it means exclamation marks were used as in shock. I don't know if this will happen in recorded one, but it happened in web version. Chapter 207. Chen, Master, why did you bring me to a place like this? Chun Bo's car drove into a top-tier mountain villa, and Lu Hui, sitting in the car, nervously called Chun Bo Master. Inwardly, she was repulsed and resistant. But what good was it? Just now, because she hadn't called Chun Bo Master, he had slapped her shapely bottom twice. As the CEO of a listed company, being spanked in public was quite a blow to Lu Hui's pride. She had no choice but to continue calling Chun Bo Master. As a socialite, Lu Hui naturally knew that this beautifully scenic and ideally located mountain villa was built specifically to host the top magnates of Yangqing. It had every imaginable entertainment facility. There was nothing you couldn't think of that they couldn't provide. The guest rooms here were also exceptional. Each room offered a unique view, and both the design and furnishings were top-notch. Its luxuriousness left even a wealthy young lady like Lu Hui, who was accustomed to grand occasions, speechless. Thinking of this mountain villa, famous for its room designs, Lu Hui's heart pounded like a startled deer. Since agreeing to be Chun Bo's mistress, Chun Bo hadn't made any inappropriate moves towards her. She had once thought Chun Bo was just joking, but she hadn't expected this day to come. No decent person would bring her to this mountain villa in broad daylight. However, Lu Hui didn't feel much resistance to this action. In fact, she could say that she had already accepted Chun Bo internally. After all, thanks to Chun Bo, Wenying real estate had been resurrected, and every project was now operating healthily. She believed that soon Wenying real estate would return to its former peak. To do what you want to do.
Chain Bautiste.
I don't want to do anything. No. This is something you've been dreaming of doing day and night. Lu Hui was speechless. Soon, Chun Bo's vehicle entered the villa's parking lot. At the same time, a familiar figure caught Lu Hui's eye, making her grit her teeth fiercely. This person was Tang Zhen, whom Lu Hui utterly detested. If it weren't for him, how could she have sold herself and become Chun Bo's mistress? Standing beside Tang Zhen was his elder sister, Tang Tang. Chun Bo hadn't originally wanted to come, but he couldn't resist Tang Tang's repeated invitations, so he reluctantly brought Lu Hui along to see what the Tang family siblings were up to. He hadn't expected the siblings to be so sensible, actually coming to the parking lot to greet them personally. This surprised Chun Bo somewhat. It was well known that the people from Shangtang Group were accustomed to looking down on others. Not many could make them come out to greet someone personally. President Bo, welcome. It's truly not easy to arrange a meeting with you. As soon as Chun Bo got out of the car, Tang Tang politely stepped forward, displaying a charming smile and extending her hand in greeting. In contrast, Tang Zhen, who followed behind her with his hands in his pockets, rolled his dead fish eyes unwillingly, his face showing disdain. It seems second young Master Tang doesn't welcome me much. Should I leave? Chun Bo teased with a playful smile. Why are you still standing there? President Bo has given us enough face by gracing us with his presence to discuss matters. Who are you showing those dead fish eyes to? Tang Tang pulled Tang Zhen over and reprimanded him sharply. Seeing this, Lu Hui's face showed surprise. The usually arrogant Tang Zhen was actually so humble in front of Tang Tang. It seemed the rumors were true. The only one who could keep Tang Zhen in line was the Tang family's eldest daughter, Tang Tang. Welcome. How could I not welcome the esteemed President Bo's grand arrival? Tang Zhen forced out a smile that was uglier than a cry. Ding! Anger value from Tang Zhen, plus 60-inch. Current total anger value, 1480. Heh.
Chain Bochicald.
Still daring to be angry? It seemed Tang Zhen was still unconvinced. A moment later, the four were seated in the luxurious private room Tang Tang had reserved. The table was a tea table made of golden Nanmu wood, with shimmering golden threads visible in its grain. Chun Bo, Lu Hui, and the Tang family siblings sat opposite each other. As the host, Tang Tang personally brewed a pot of expensive Phoenix Dansong tea for them. Miss Tang, let's skip the pleasantries. You didn't invite me here just to show off your tea ceremony, did you? After watching Tang Tang's tea ceremony performance, Chun Bo spoke directly. Tang Tang smiled as she poured tea for Chun Bo, saying, President Bo is indeed straightforward. Then I'll be direct as well. I know there's some conflict between you and my brother. I should say my brother was immature and offended you, President Bo. Today, I specifically asked him to apologize to you, hoping that you, President Bo, will be magnanimous and forgive his immaturity. Additionally, I also know President Bo's formidable strength. Our Shangtang group sincerely hopes to cooperate with President Bo, combining our strengths. Tang Tang was neither humble nor arrogant, her words gentle yet revealing firmness. She exuded the demeanor of a mature, powerful woman. Chun Bo picked up the tea brewed by Tang Tang and took a small sip. To be honest, he couldn't really distinguish any difference in such high-end tea. Perhaps it was just a tiny bit more fragrant than ordinary Dansong tea. Setting down the teacup, Chun Bo looked at Tang Zhen with interest. Let's talk about cooperation later. Since it's an apology, there should be an apologetic attitude. Shouldn't there? Immediately, Tang Zhen's face twisted into a ferocious expression. He wanted to curse, but didn't dare. If you're unwilling, then forget it. Chun Bo stood up, preparing to leave. It's not like I'm begging you to apologize. Who are you being so wishy-washy for? Seeing Chun Bo's displeasure, Tang Tang immediately gave Tang Zhen a fierce look. President Bo, I shouldn't have opposed you and even hired someone to assassinate you. I was wrong. I am willing to pay the price for my actions. Haha, that's nothing. If I were in your shoes, I would have done the same. Your only mistake was not being as strong as me. So, the person you should apologize to isn't me, but her. Chun Bo pointed at Lu Hui. Don't say I'm not giving you a chance. As long as you kneel and kowtow to her, how about we clear our past grievances? Chun Bo, don't go too far. You want me to kowtow and apologize to her? I'd rather die. Hearing this, Tang Zhen instantly exploded in rage. As the dignified second young master of the Tang family, his pride was higher than the heavens. If he were to kneel to Lu Hui, what would become of his reputation as the Tang family's second young master if word got out? He'd rather die. If you're unwilling, then forget it. If you really did kneel, I wouldn't have an excuse to mess with you later.
Chen Bo smiled indifferently.
President Bo, a man's knees are worth gold. It's truly inappropriate to ask him to kneel and kowtow to Miss Lu. I'll have Tang Zhen compensate Miss Lu with 100 million yuan as my brother's apology to her. What do you think? No thanks. Do I lack that much money from you? Chun Bo flatly refused. Then why don't you name your price, President Bo? We are sincerely trying to mend fences with you. Tang Tang maintained a polite and gentle smile throughout. One does not strike a smiling person, especially not a beautiful and powerful woman like Tang Tang. Seeing Tang Tang smile, Chun Bo was willing to give them a chance. He looked at Lu Hui. What do you think? Chapter 208. Lu Hui was still in a state of extreme shock. Having Tang Zhen, who had always been so high and mighty, apologize to her was already enough to shock her. She had never imagined that one day, Tang Zhen, who used to bully her relentlessly and trample on her family's dignity, would become so submissive. She didn't even dare to dream of Tang Zhen kneeling and kowtowing to her. But as a businesswoman, she keenly sensed an opportunity to finally hold her head high. Maximizing profits was what she, as a businesswoman, ought to do. Kneeling and kowtowing can be skipped, but I want to buy back all of Wanying Real Estate's shares from him. In Lu Hui's mind, Only by repurchasing all of Weining Real Estate's shares held by Shangtang Financial could she completely escape Shangtang Financial's targeting. Only then could she truly relax, focus all her energy on company operations, and no longer constantly guard against Tang Jun's malicious schemes. All right, to show our sincerity, Shangtang Financial will sell all of Weining Real Estate's shares to you at 80% of the market price. President Bo, are you satisfied with this? Tang readily agreed to Lu Hui's request. Perhaps, Lu Hui's request was entirely within her expectations. The shares of Weining Real Estate held by Shangtang Financial were only worth a few billion yuan. With an 80% discount, their loss would be less than $1 billion. Using this amount of money to reconcile with President Bo, this deal was worthwhile. However, Chen Bo smiled coldly. This much sincerity isn't enough. I have no objection to repurchasing all of Weining Real Estate's shares, but the price must be set by me. All right, you name it. Tang smiled generously and gestured for Chen Bo to speak. Chen Bo didn't speak, but extended his right hand and held up one finger. Seeing this, Tang Jin instantly flew into a rage, abruptly standing up. 10%? Why don't you just rob me? Don't think I'm really afraid of you. This money is enough to have Shattered Jade Tower send out a top assassin to take your dog's life. At worst, we'll both go down. Tang Jun's eyes were like a venomous snake, looking at Chen Bo sinisterly. Tang Jun, calm down.
Tang rau sapi.
She then looked at Chen Bo, resuming her sweet yet calculating smile. President Bo, a 10% repurchase of all shares is indeed a bit excessive. Shangtang Financial has invested a lot in Weining Real Estate. If we give you Weining Real Estate's shares at 10%, it would be equivalent to bleeding Shangtang Financial dry, and it would be very difficult for me to explain to other shareholders. The most I can agree to is 60%. Tang's smile remained neither humble nor overbearing, yet it carried the aura of someone in a high position. No wonder Tang, as a woman, could even suppress Tang Jin. President Tang, I think you misunderstood me. The price I offered wasn't 10%, but 1 yuan. Upon hearing this, Tang Jun, who was usually as calm as a venomous snake, suddenly roared out. 1 yuan? Damn it. Your heart is even darker and more vicious than mine. Even Tang, who had maintained her smile, had her expression stiffen, even showing a hint of disbelief. President Bo, you're not joking, are you? I never joke. Chen Bo casually spread his hands and shrugged. Sister, this guy is just messing with us, going too far. Since that's the case, we don't need to be polite with him. The Weining Group shares I hold are worth over 5 billion yuan. Enough to buy this bastard's life. After his outburst, Tang Jin quickly regained his composure. His eyes filled with venom. The reason he sought help from Tang was simply to resolve the matter with the least cost. If he was willing to spend 5 billion, it would be enough for him to hire a top assassin from Shattered Jade Tower to deal with Chen Bo. Then what the hell would he be afraid of? Even Lu Hui felt that Chen Bo's asking price was too high. 1 yuan to acquire shares worth over 5 billion yuan. Do you really think you're a crown prince, able to pick any company for a 1 yuan purchase whenever you want to start a business? You're probably dreaming. President Bo, our Tang family is sincerely apologizing to you and truly doesn't want to be your enemy, but we really cannot accept such terms. How about we both take a step back? I promise to transfer all of Weining Real Estate's shares to you at 50% of the market price. How about that? As Tang spoke, she gracefully picked up the teapot and slowly poured tea into the cup in front of Chen Bo. I hope you don't misunderstand. Today, I am not negotiating with you. I am giving you an opportunity. I also sincerely hope you can cherish this opportunity. Chen Bo picked up the teacup and drained it in one gulp. Emptying the tea implied departure. This was a tacit signal in daily social interactions. It indicated that Chen Bo no longer wanted to haggle with them on this matter and also showed his attitude. Originally, Chen Bo expected Tang to be as furious as Tang Jin. After all, they had always been high and mighty, unchallengeable monarchs. How could they endure such humiliation? However, Tang's gentle smile didn't disappear. Instead, it became even brighter. So bright that Chun Bo felt a slight trepidation. Is this the aura befitting the general manager of Shangtang Group? Indeed, this woman was no ordinary person. You truly live up to your reputation, President Bo. You're the first to dare to make such demands of our Tang family. I can agree to transfer all of Wanying Real Estate's shares held by Shangtang Financial to you for 1 yuan. But I have one condition. What condition? Tang Tang smiled, then unhurriedly refilled the empty cup in front of Chun Bo with tea. That day at the hotel venue, I witnessed President Bo's astonishing medical skills, and I am both admiring and eager. Our Shangtang Group's pharmaceutical company, Shangtang Pharmaceutical, is currently developing a drug capable of treating cancer. This drug is on the verge of success, but unfortunately, at the most crucial moment, our team encountered a bottleneck and couldn't break through it. I hope President Bo can use your superb medical skills to guide and assist with this drug, helping us overcome this hurdle and successfully develop this miraculous cancer-curing drug. President Bo, don't be too quick to refuse, because once this drug is successfully developed, the returns it brings us will undoubtedly be an astronomical figure. At this stage, traditional industries in Dragon Country like real estate, finance, and automobiles are struggling, and the only industries that can continuously generate huge profits are high-tech and pharmaceuticals. Our Shangtang Group also continues to invest in high-tech, but it's difficult to achieve major breakthroughs in that area quickly. But drugs are different. Once a drug that can treat cancer is successfully developed, that's all money. Just imagine how many people die of cancer every year. Don't they want to live? No, they just haven't had the chance yet. So, as long as they are given a chance to live, no matter how much money it costs, even if they lose everything, they will be willing. You can imagine how terrifying the profits are. President Bo, you have the technology, and our Shangtang Pharmaceutical has the team and the channels. I believe our cooperation can definitely create a future. As Tang Tang was speaking eloquently, on a tall building 2 kilometers away from Chun Bo, a Barrett heavy sniper rifle was quietly aiming at Chun Bo's head. Chapter 209. President Bo, with your strength and our Shangtang Group's strong alliance, growing bigger and stronger to create a world-class pharmaceutical enterprise is not a dream.
Tang Tang Gradoli Persuda Chen Bo.
However, Tang Tang's plan was too grand, and she even intended to transfer the shares of Wanying Group to Chun Bo for 1 yuan, which greatly displeased Tang Jin. Sister, aren't you overestimating Chun Bo? I don't believe it. Suddenly, an extremely strong sensation, like an electric current, flashed through Chun Bo's mind. This was the Zhu Long divine senses perception, but it had never been as intense as it was now. Like a reflex, Chun Bo's divine sense fully opened, instantly enveloping a 2-kilometer radius centered on him. As his divine sense fully opened, a floor-to-ceiling glass window behind him was instantly pierced by a rapidly approaching bullet, creating a bullet hole the size of a finger. The moment the bullet passed through the glass, the sniper rifle bullet was only 1 meter away from Chun Bo's back of the head. The bullet had immense power, fired from a Barrett heavy sniper rifle, known as the King of Snipers. The power of the King of Snipers was comparable to artillery fire, capable of penetrating even steel plates. Although Chun Bo, with his Xuanwu physique, possessed astonishing defensive capabilities, taking a shot without any preparation would undoubtedly blow him to pieces. One shot soul-piercer. The sniper rifle's firing speed was as swift as lightning. Even if discovered 100 meters away, the targeted person would not have time to dodge. Let alone when you discover the bullet, this oversized caliber bullet has already left the barrel and is only 1 meter from your head. In such a situation, let alone an ordinary person, even a Grandmaster Realm expert would take a hit. The white-headed eagle assassin, hiding 2 kilometers away from Chun Bo, now curved his lips into a victorious smile. Mission? So easy. Just at this critical moment, Chun Bo's head tilted slightly towards Lu Hui. The heavy sniper bullet thus grazed his ear by a mere 1 centimeter. The airflow from the bullet even made Chun Bo's ear feel a chill. Chun Bo perfectly dodged the sniper shot. However, Tang Jun, sitting opposite Chun Bo, was not so lucky. With a bang, The moment Chun Bo tilted his head, Tang Jin's head exploded like a watermelon, instantly splattering blood and flesh everywhere. The next second, Tang Jun's voice was still echoing in Tang Tang and Lu Hui's ears, but Tang Jun himself had become a headless corpse. The sudden turn of events plunged the private room into instant silence. Tang Tang and Lu Hui both felt the warm liquid splashing onto their faces, frozen in shock. Fear, horror, trembling. This state lasted for 3 seconds. Ah! Lu Hui and Tang Tang simultaneously let out piercing screams, a wave of nausea suddenly washing over them. If Chun Bo hadn't seen more gruesome scenes, even he might not have been able to stomach it. The bodyguards outside the private room heard the commotion and immediately rushed in with their guns drawn. Sniper rifle, it's a sniper rifle. Quickly find cover and protect the boss to leave. There's no place to snipe within a 1-kilometer radius of the villa. Where did this shooter snipe from? The bodyguards immediately shielded Tang Tang and hid behind a wall. But they dared not go far, fearing that the shooter would continue to snipe during the transfer. Lu Hui, startled awake from her shock, also quickly followed the bodyguards and hid behind the wall. However, she noticed Chun Bo looking out into the distance through the shattered floor-to-ceiling glass. Feeling Chun Bo's cold gaze, the white-headed eagle assassin, hiding on the mountain 2 kilometers away, was momentarily stunned. How is this possible? He found me? It's a full 2 kilometers from here to the scene. Even a top-tier soldier king couldn't have discovered my position in such an instant. Could he? It must be my imagination. Such a person cannot exist in this world. The white-headed eagle assassin was full of confidence. Having missed his shot, he attempted to fire again. He looked towards Chun Bo through the sniper rifle scope. The next second, the scene before him made his entire body tremble. Through the scope, he saw Chun Bo, his face covered in blood 2 kilometers away, revealing an evil smile and raising his middle finger, making an international greeting gesture towards him. Extremely provocative. Being discovered by Chun Bo, the white-headed eagle assassin was extremely shocked. But it was only shock. He had absolute confidence in his marksmanship and strength. What if you found me? A 2-kilometer distance was enough to ensure he had ample time to escape. Interesting. The white-headed eagle assassin laughed. As prey, you should know your place. How dare you provoke me? The white-headed eagle assassin immediately lay down, using the scope of his Barrett sniper rifle to aim at Chun Bo. Lu Hui, still shaken, saw Chun Bo standing there in front of the floor-to-ceiling glass. She wanted to pull him away, but her legs wouldn't cooperate. The previous scene had scared her so much that her legs were weak, and her crotch was even wet. She had peed. Chun Bo, why are you still standing there? Chun Bo, hurry up and get down. Find some cover and hide. The next second, Chun Bo's body seemed to produce an afterimage. 2 bullets, upon piercing the floor-to-ceiling glass, passed cleanly through Chun Bo's afterimage. Bang! Bang! 2 highly destructive bullets struck the reinforced concrete wall, blasting out 2 large holes. Chun Bo calmly gave Lu Hui a charming evil smile. Is your butt itching again? Didn't I tell you to call me master? Lu Hui was terrified. At the same time, she was extremely speechless. Was this the time to argue about this problem? But Lu Hui no longer had the energy to pay attention to Chun Bo, because she found that her crotch was even wetter. She had peed again. She should have known better than to drink so much tea earlier. The gunman fired 2 more shots, instantly scaring the bodyguards around Tang Tang. However, with their current abilities, they couldn't locate the gunman's position immediately. They could only protect Tang Tang, hiding tightly behind the wall. Seeing Chun Bo dodge the sniper shots twice in a row, the white-headed eagle assassin grew angry. He had never been provoked by prey like this before. But as a sniper, the iron rule of immediately changing position after exposing oneself told him he should evacuate immediately. Consider yourself lucky, the white-headed eagle assassin said coldly. Just as he was about to give up and leave the scene, he noticed Chun Bo in his scope, extending his index finger and beckoning repeatedly, as if saying, "Come here, arrogant." The sufficient distance made him believe he was safe. Chun Bo's provocation stirred an impulse that overrode the iron rule. He decisively lay down, loaded, and aimed. He activated continuous firing mode.
Bang! Bang! Bang!
Bullet after bullet of immense destructive power rained down like cannon fire into the private room where Chun Bo was. The floor-to-ceiling glass in front of him shattered into countless pieces, scattering across the floor. The strong wind from outside blew into the private room, making Chun Bo's clothes flap loudly. Yet, he stood unmoving, a smile of assured victory on his face, like a battle-hardened war god, full of vigor and spirit. Chapter 210. It was unclear whether it was the white-headed eagle's poor marksmanship or Chun Bo's incredible agility. The bullets, swift as lightning, astonishingly failed to hit Chun Bo.
Bang! Bang! Bang!
The bullets that missed Chun Bo all struck the wall behind him, blasting out holes the size of bowls. Sand and stones flew, raising clouds of dust. The scene was a mess, and a tense atmosphere filled the entire space. Everyone's hearts were in their throats. What the F? Is this kid crazy? He just gave that assassin an international gesture. Didn't he? Damn it. Why is this idiot intentionally angering that gunman? Does he have a death wish? But that gunman's aim is terrible. He fired so many shots and couldn't kill this fool. The bodyguards protecting Tang Tang complained one after another. They were completely unaware that 2 kilometers away, the white-headed eagle assassin was already experiencing a storm of shock in his heart. What the F? The white-headed eagle assassin looked incredulous. He was a master of marksmanship, a true king of assassins with his gun-fu and sniping skills. Even facing 100 wolves, given an assault rifle, he was confident he could pierce the eyeballs of all moving wolves within 10 seconds. This was his strength. The white-headed eagle assassin had absolute confidence in his marksmanship. Sniping prey from 2 kilometers away was only a medium difficulty for the white-headed eagle assassin. His best record was a one-shot kill from 3 kilometers away. Yet now, after firing over 10 shots, not a single bullet had hit the target. He wouldn't believe his marksmanship was the problem. Therefore, it could only be the target in front of him, using some strange method to evade the bullets or alter the bullets' trajectories. But could a person who could do that still be considered human? The white-headed eagle assassin was utterly astonished. Although shocked, it wasn't enough to make the white-headed eagle assassin feel fear. If he couldn't kill him, then he couldn't do anything to him either. After all, there was a 2-kilometer chasm between them. Are you going to tell me you can teleport? One magazine was empty, and the gun barrel was already scorching hot. The white-headed eagle assassin knew it was time to leave. If he didn't go now, he would be in danger. You think I can't do anything to you just because you're hiding so far away? Suddenly, a magnetic voice sounded behind the white-headed eagle assassin. The white-headed eagle assassin sharply turned his head. M.A. The storm in the white-headed eagle's heart surged again, and he gasped as if he had seen God, because the person in front of him was his target, Chun Bo. A second ago, Chun Bo was still in the scope of his Barrett sniper rifle. Yet now, Chun Bo stood right before him. This was even more shocking than seeing a ghost. Did you have fun shooting just now? Now you're calling out to God? Even if God came, he couldn't save you, I said it. Boom! A loud bang echoed through the lush forest. In the villa's private room, although the shooting had stopped, everyone's nerves were still stretched to the limit. They hid behind the wall, motionless, terrified that the gunman would open fire again. Come out, everyone. The gunman has been dealt with by me. Chun Bo dusted himself off and said calmly. The others all looked at Chun Bo with expressions of concern for the mentally challenged. My goodness, there's a limit to bragging. You haven't left this private room from start to finish. And you're telling us the gunman has been dealt with by you? What did you use to deal with him? Did you kill the gunman with your imagination? Indeed, Chun Bo's main body had not left this private room from beginning to end. The Chun Bo who appeared in the forest on the mountain 2 kilometers away was merely a touring doppelganger of his. When Tang Jun was shot in the head and everyone was in utter shock, Chun Bo had already dispatched a touring doppelganger, which quickly rushed towards the white-headed eagle assassin's position. With his current strength, a 2-kilometer distance couldn't be covered in an instant. It required some time. To prevent the white-headed eagle assassin from immediately escaping after the first failed sniper shot, he deliberately gave the white-headed eagle assassin an international gesture, mercilessly provoking him. Fortunately, the arrogant white-headed eagle assassin fell for it. Otherwise, Chun Bo would have had a hard time catching him. The gunman's body is over there. As for who sent him, you can investigate that yourselves. Chun Bo glanced at Tang Jun's headless corpse. Tang Tang's gaze also fell upon Tang Jun's headless corpse, her face filled with sorrow. Grief and indignation quickly helped her recover from the shock. Go! Find that gunman's body immediately! Tang Tang angrily ordered her bodyguards. Then her gaze turned sharp as she looked at Chun Bo. Chun Bo, do you know who did this? You suspect me? Chun Bo almost laughed in exasperation. My brother is dead. A hint of coldness and resolve entered Tang Tang's tone. She was a completely different person from when she was negotiating with him just now. What does his death have to do with me? I just want to tell you, if I wanted to kill him, I wouldn't need such trouble. With that, Chun Bo took Lu Hui's hand, who was still cowering in the corner. Lu Hui looked embarrassed, reluctantly standing up under Chun Bo's pull. Her hands kept covering her crotch. However, the wet area was simply too large. Her small hands couldn't possibly cover it all. Seeing her unnatural movements, it was hard for Chun Bo not to notice. Your pants are wet? Chun Bo asked, trying to suppress a smile, feigning ignorance. Just now I ran too fast, and tea spilled on my pants, but it should dry soon. Lu Hui tried to explain, but her face had turned beet red. What kind of tea is this? It smells so pungent. Chun Bo deliberately covered his nose. Pungent? What pungent? Don't talk nonsense. Right? How could our general manager Lu be scared by such a small scene? Shamefaced, Lu Hui quickly jumped up and clamped her hands over Chun Bo's mouth. Are you trying to die? If you dare say another word, I'll kill you. Lu Hui was baring her fangs and brandishing her claws. Besides Chun Bo, Tang Tang and her bodyguards were still there. If he revealed the fact that she had peed her pants, she might as well have died in the hail of bullets just now. However, this was Lu Hui's first public act of defiance against Chun Bo. But Chun Bo was just that mischievous. He thought that Lu Hui like this was also quite cute. Chun Bo gallantly found a piece of cloth and wrapped it around Lu Hui's lower body. This way, at least others wouldn't see that her pants were wet. Soon, a voice came through Tang Tang's bodyguard's walkie-talkie. President Tang, we found a white-headed eagle man in the forest 2 kilometers from the villa. Next to him was a Barrett sniper rifle and some spent casings. Preliminary assessment indicates this person is the assassin who carried out the sniper attack on the villa. The message from the bodyguard instantly shocked Tang Tang. What shocked her wasn't that the person who killed her brother had been found. It was Chun Bo's calm and composed remark just now. The gunman has been dealt with by me. Could this gunman really have been killed by Chun Bo? How did he do it? A storm of shock surged in Tang Tang's heart. Chapter 211. Have you received the funeral notice for Tang Jin? He was fine yesterday. How could he suddenly? I heard Tang Jin died a terrible death. His head was blown off, and the head in the coffin was carved from wax. His head was gone long ago. That's too cruel. Who did it? Killing him wasn't enough. They didn't even leave a complete body. So ruthless. Who did Tang Jin offend to end up like this? Sure. I'll tell you some inside information, but you can't tell anyone, or even our lives won't be safe. Tell us, we promise not to tell. Whoever tells is a grandson. I'm telling you, the reason Tang Jin was at the Li Huang yesterday was to apologize to President Bo. Ah? That kid Tang Jin offended President Bo. What else did you think? Although Tang Jin humbled himself to apologize to President Bo, President Bo was still not appeased. He made Tang Jin kneel and kowtow on the spot, humiliating him in every way. So Tang Jun must have been unwilling to humble himself and kneel to President Bo, which is why President Bo blew his head off? Heh heh, it's not that simple. Tang Jun isn't stupid. How could he not understand the consequences of offending someone like President Bo? He immediately knelt down to President Bo, kowtowing repeatedly and admitting his mistakes. Did President Bo forgive him then? What kind of person is President Bo? How could he forgive him so easily? Even though Tang Jun knelt and kowtowed, President Bo was still not appeased. He ruthlessly stomped on Tang Jun's face several times. You don't know. The usually arrogant Tang Jun was as humble as a dog in front of President Bo. And then, Tang Jun already knelt and kowtowed. President Bo wouldn't still not forgive him, would he? Not that far, but President Bo also made another demand. What demand? He demanded that Tang Jun's older sister, the general manager of Shangtang Group, Tang Tang, spend a night with President Bo. Only then would President Bo be willing to clear the slate between them. Holy cow! President Bo really dared to ask for that. Who is Tang Tang? He actually asked Tang Tang to sleep with him for a night? Did Tang Jun agree? Calamity doesn't extend to family. Tang Jun definitely couldn't agree. And then Tang Jun was blown up. Ah? So, President Bo blew Tang Jun's head off. You said that. I didn't say anything. Oh my goodness. President Bo is too petty. Tang Jun already knelt and kowtowed. Yet he still wanted to sleep with the Tang family's eldest daughter. He blew someone's head off at the slightest disagreement. Is there still justice? Is there still law? Shoo! Keep your voice down. If President Bo's spies hear you, both you and I will be finished. Inside a coffee shop in a star-rated hotel, two men dressed in designer brands whispered to each other. Their tone and actions were exactly like old ladies spreading gossip at the village entrance. Thump, thump, thump. A continuous light, clinking sound of porcelain rang out. Another customer at a table not far from the two men was holding a porcelain coaster in one hand and a cup of rich coffee in the other. At this moment, the coaster and coffee cup were shaking at a very high frequency, making a thumping sound. Because this customer had been scared pale and was trembling in his hands and feet by the rumors spread by the two men at the next table. This person was Wan Yanjun, young Master Wan. Pale-faced and distraught, young Master Wan raised his trembling hand and took a small sip of coffee. Hot, hot. Clang. A reflex made young Master Wan quickly let go of the coffee cup. Clang. The cup fell onto the table, spilling coffee everywhere. The scalding coffee flowed down the table onto his thigh, soaking his custom Armani suit pants. Ah! Young Master Wan, are you all right? The beautiful woman sitting at the same table as Wan Yanjun immediately nervously wiped him. But at this moment, Wan Yanjun no longer cared about the pain. Too terrifying. Too heart-stopping. Even a figure like Tang Jun was easily blown up by President Bo. He was someone who, like Tang Jun, had offended President Bo. That day, he also knelt and kowtowed to President Bo, and President Bo didn't say much and just let him go. But, did President Bo truly forgive him? He wouldn't have been acting because there were many people around, would he? Thinking of this, Wan Yanjun instantly broke out in a cold sweat. Terrifying. President Bo is too terrifying. As he thought this, all the unlucky things that had happened to him recently became clear. Ever since he offended President Bo that day, several films invested in by Wanson Entertainment had been reviewed. One was banned because the female lead was caught for tax evasion. One was detained because the male lead was reported by Chaoyang the masses for drug use. Another one was even more absurd. The male lead hooked up with a female fan, who then turned around and reported him for rape. The male lead is still in the detention center. His financial company was also subjected to various investigations by relevant departments, and even old accounts from 10 years ago were dug up. At first, he thought he was just unlucky, encountering all sorts of problems. It wasn't until this moment that he realized he had offended someone. President Bo has vast connections and astonishing power. Dealing with him is as simple as crushing an ant. The reason President Bo didn't want to kill him the way he killed Tang Jun was simply to toy with him thoroughly before eventually finishing him off. A cat catching a mouse doesn't kill it immediately. Instead, It torments it repeatedly until the other party's psychological defenses completely collapse, and they lose the will to live. By then, even if you want to die, he might not let you die easily. This is called being unable to live and unable to die. Ruthless. Too ruthless. These methods are simply too President Bo-like. Wan Yanjun was so anxious he was almost in tears. He didn't want to be blown up like Tang Jin. His first thought was to flee, to escape abroad and never return. He would sell whatever family businesses he could, and he couldn't be bothered with the rest. Anyway, the money he had was enough for him to spend 10 lifetimes. But then he remembered something Tang Jin once told him. If you offend President Bo, don't think about escaping, because even if you flee to the ends of the earth, it's useless. Instantly, Wan Yanjun's face turned ashen, and his limbs trembled even more violently. It's over. It's over. He couldn't fight and he couldn't escape. The ancients truly did not deceive me. Showing off carries risks, and consequences must be borne. If he hadn't been showing off back then, he wouldn't have offended someone like President Bo. Young Master Wan, are you all right? The beautiful woman accompanying him saw Wan Yanjun's face turn pale and cold sweat pouring, and she gently reached out to wipe him. But the moment the beautiful woman's hand touched Wan Yanjun suddenly stood up and took a few steps back in terror. Don't touch me. You're also someone President Bo arranged to deal with me, aren't you? Get out. Get out of here. The beautiful woman had a face full of question marks. What the heck? President Bo? Never heard of him? If it weren't for the resources you have, would I be trying to please you in every way? The beautiful woman was indeed not someone arranged by Chen Bo, but Wan Yanjun now felt that everyone around him was a potential enemy. Everyone could be someone President Bo sent to harm him. If Chen Bo knew what Wan Yanjun was thinking at this moment, he would surely burst out laughing. You small fry, who are you? Do you even deserve for me to remember you? Chapter 212. The Gu family of the capital. In the ancestral hall, which exuded an air of nobility everywhere. No, Xinzhong, didn't I tell you that the fate of people blessed by heaven is beyond reason? Their vitality is comparable to cockroaches. You only arranged for one assassin and had no backup plan. Foolish, so foolish. Against such people, once you make a move, you must use all available power, striving for a single fatal blow. Haven't you read Diao Po Tsang Cheong? If the protagonist is allowed to grow, we will be the ones to die. Don't you understand such a simple principle? Upon learning of the failed operation, Grand Third Ancestor Gu Boyong almost choked with rage. Gu Zhenzhong, that fool, not only failed to eliminate Chen Bo but also killed the second young master of the Tang family in Yangqing. What kind of situation is this? Gu Zhenzhong, over 60 and corpulent, stood before the ancestral tablets in the hall like a child who had done wrong, allowing Grand Third Ancestor Gu Boyong to scold him. It wasn't until Grand Third Ancestor Gu Boyong ran out of breath that he cautiously spoke. This is the top assassin I contacted through the dark web. He even boasted that he was the king of snipers, and no carbon-based lifeform could escape his marksmanship within a 2-kilometer range. I didn't expect this white-headed eagle to be a braggart as well. Gu Zhenzhong was speechless. Crucially, the price for this white-headed eagle assassin, the king of snipers, was not cheap. He didn't expect him to be so weak, and to cause such a huge disaster for him. What do we do now? Although the Tang family in Yangqing is not to be feared, they still have some power. They'll probably find out very soon that this matter is related to us, Gu Zhenzhong asked. Grand Third Ancestor Gu Boyong was somewhat disdainful of the Tang family. He was more disappointed in Gu Zhenzhong. As the future head of the Gu family, although steady, he lacked assertiveness and decisiveness. In the eyes of the strong, isn't it natural to bully the weak? Otherwise, what am I working so hard to become strong for? Is it to maintain world peace? So what if that second young master of the Tang family died? So what if we killed him? Does he dare to oppose us? Zhenzhong, with the strength of our Gu family, when facing weaker forces, we must display sufficient assertiveness. What if we bully them? What if we kill a few of their people? If they want to challenge us, we'll be ready. Not everything needs to be explained to them. The most important thing now is to deal with that brat named Chun Bo. Don't procrastinate any longer. Immediately mobilize all the power available to our Gu family. Spare no expense, and strive to nip him in the bud as quickly as possible, to prevent any possibility of him threatening our Gu family. Third Master, I know what to do. Just wait for my good news. 2 days later, Tang Zhen's funeral. In the morning hall, Wan Yanjun had arrived early. It wasn't because his relationship with Tang Zhen was particularly good, but rather based on the principle that the enemy of my enemy is my friend. He wanted to team up with the Tang family to deal with Chun Bo. Young Master Wan, usually so elegant, had not slept for 2 days now. Whenever he closed his eyes, he would dream of Chun Bo punching his head off. He looked incredibly haggard at this moment. He hadn't looked so haggard even when his biological father passed away at the beginning of the year. Anyone who didn't know would truly believe that his relationship with Tang Zhen was so good that he was heartbroken by Tang Zhen's death. He didn't even bother to maintain his appearance. During this time, Wan Yanjun wanted to approach the Tang family members, especially Tang Tang, several times to talk. Unfortunately, there were too many guests today, and everyone in the Tang family was in a frantic rush, so he couldn't find an opportunity. He could only rest for a while in a corner of the morning hall. Although it was very noisy here, it was still a good place to rest. With so many people, he didn't believe Chun Bo would dare to make a move here. Just as he was about to close his eyes, the figure that kept him in fear day and night suddenly appeared before him. President Bo. Wan Yanjun was startled and jumped up. Wasn't there a rumor that Tang Zhen was killed by someone President Bo hired? He still dares to come here. Ruthless, truly ruthless. Even though Tang Zhen himself is dead, it seems President Bo is still unwilling to let go of the Tang family. He probably came this time to show off and disgust the Tang family. Keep your voices down. If President Bo hears us, we'll all be finished. Some guests who had believed the rumors exchanged whispers, trying to keep their voices down. Through his hearing, enhanced by the Zhu Long divine sense, Chun Bo heard their discussions clearly, but he had no intention of clarifying or arguing with them. Originally, he had not planned to attend Tang Zhen's funeral, as he didn't really have any close ties with Tang Zhen. It was just that Tang Tang had sent him a message, saying she had important information to tell him. Therefore, he came. The deceased is paramount. Although Tang Zhen had once hired an assassin from Shattered Jade Tower to kill him, Chun Bo still offered 3 sticks of incense to Tang Zhen as a formality. What's more, Tang Zhen had generated a lot of rage points for him. After offering incense to Tang Zhen amidst the pointing fingers of many guests who didn't know the truth, Chun Bo beckoned to Tang Tang, who was in the family seating area. However, this scene, in Wan Yanjun's eyes, was like a superior's ruthless contempt for an inferior. Indeed, even with Tang Zhen dead, Chun Bo was still unwilling to let go of Tang Tang. Tang Tang received Chun Bo's signal, quickly adjusted her emotions, and followed Chun Bo out of the morning hall. This scene, in Wan Yanjun's eyes, meant that Tang Tang had finally succumbed to President Bo's oppressive power. President Bo is such a pervert, to actually humiliate Tang Tang, Tang Zhen's older sister, so severely at Tang Zhen's funeral. Is there still law? Is there still justice? Wan Yanjun sat down weakly. If even Tang Tang had no power to resist in front of President Bo, what should he do? He was still too naive, actually thinking of uniting with the Tang family to deal with President Bo. He didn't expect the Tang family to surrender before even making a move. Looking at Tang Zhen's black and white photo in the morning hall and the surrounding white wreaths, Wan Yanjun seemed to see his own funeral. Meanwhile, in a private room not far from the morning hall, Tang Tang handed a document bag to Chun Bo. I found out who killed my brother. This person is named Nevin Slick, a white-headed eagle, a well-known assassin on the World Assassin ranking list, skilled in sniping. The bounty on the assassin list is as high as $50 million. This person. Wait! Chun Bo stopped Tang Tang, looking at her in surprise. Are you saying that this white-headed eagle assassin is a wanted criminal, and his bounty is as high as 50 million?
Tang Tang not dead.
This person is globally wanted, and the bounty can be claimed in any country. Hearing this news, Chun Bo felt like he had missed out on several hundred million. You old ghost, why didn't you say you were so valuable earlier? Next, Tang Tang continued to read out information related to this white-headed eagle assassin. But Chun Bo no longer had any interest in listening to these details. His heart was bleeding. According to our investigation, the only entity that has had contact with this organization during this period is the Gu family of the capital. And coincidentally, you had a conflict with someone from the Gu family a few days ago. Didn't you? So I believe that the target of this assassin was you, and my brother was merely your scapegoat. Chapter 213. Don't say he was my scapegoat. His death has nothing to do with me. He was just unlucky, Chun Bo said as he opened the document bag Tang Tang handed him. How can you be so heartless? Even if my brother wasn't killed by you, he died because of you. You can't deny that, can you? Today, Tang Tang's attitude was completely different from when they negotiated 2 days ago. Well, Tang Jun was dead, and the feud between Chun Bo and Tang Jun could only end there. At least when facing Chun Bo, she didn't have to hide anything anymore. With her arms crossed over her high chest and her long, beautiful legs elegantly crossed, her black suit accentuated her cool and elegant demeanor. And today, Tang Tang was wearing a black miniskirt. As Tang Tang inadvertently shifted her crossed legs, Chun Bo vaguely caught a glimpse of purple. So, Chun Bo had every reason to suspect that Tang Tang was trying to seduce him. You're right about that. So, what do you want to do? Chun Bo asked with a smile. Even the world's top marksman couldn't deal with you, so what can I do? However, the Gu family killed my brother, and I will definitely settle this score. Then go find the Gu family members. What's the point of telling me? Our Tang family has some influence in Yangcheng, but nationwide, we don't even rank. We can't compare to a powerful behemoth like the Gu family from the capital. Going against them would be like throwing an egg at a rock. Tang Tang's bright, beautiful eyes gazed at Chun Bo, and at the same time, her cheek moved closer to him. The distance between them was only 20 centimeters. With President Bo's strength, he certainly wouldn't put the Gu family in his eyes. So I hope President Bo can help me. Why should I help you? When Tang Jun was alive, he wished I was dead. But he's dead now, and the Gu family was originally targeting you. Helping me is also helping yourself. To show my sincerity, I will still transfer Wanying Real Estate's shares to you for 1 yuan. And I can also become your lover. Tang Tang cast seductive glances at Chun Bo, while continuously drawing circles on the back of his hand with her finger. You! Chun Bo was shocked by Tang Tang's words. What? I'm not good enough. Lu Hui can be your lover, so why can't I?
Chun Bo's mouth twitched.
For a moment, he couldn't figure out Tang Tang's true intentions. Lu Hui became his lover because he gave her enormous benefits. As for Tang Tang, she had no reason to become his lover. It wasn't about being a boyfriend or husband. It was just a lover. Was there such a rush? If you're willing, I naturally won't refuse. All right, as long as you give me Rev. Hehehe. Tang Tang, who had just been smiling flirtatiously, suddenly let out a sinister laugh, and even her expression turned grim. You trash. You think you can deal with our Gu family? Looking at this Tang Tang, in front of him, Chun Bo's brows furrowed. The person who wanted to be his lover just now was definitely Tang Tang herself. But the person in front of him, he was sure, was not Tang Tang herself. Did this person seize Tang Tang's consciousness in an instant? Who are you? You're the one who secretly learned our Gu family's Tai Wei 13 needles and killed Gu Feng. A disciple of our Gu family, aren't you? Hearing this, Chun Bo was stunned. Gu Feng was dead? It had been more than 3 days since he administered the Meteor Heart Silver Needle to Gu Feng, and Gu Feng had not come looking for him again during this time. He had thought that after Gu Feng returned to the Gu family, they would use their exquisite techniques to remove the Meteor Heart Silver Needle. Now they were telling him Gu Feng was dead, and that he was the one who killed him? What kind of operation was this from the Gu family? Chun Bo had no idea about the intricate workings of these aristocratic families, who would rather let Gu Feng die than lose face for their Gu family. Your Gu family really is persistent. You say, I secretly learned your Gu family's Tai Wei 13 needles, but you couldn't even save Gu Feng's life. Chun Bo scoffed with disdain. Arrogant. How dare a dying man slander our Gu family's Tai Wei 13 needles? Me? A dying man? Chun Bo smiled and pointed at himself. Of course, it's you. But don't worry, I won't let you die easily. How dare you slander our Gu family's secret techniques? I will make you experience all the tortures of the human world before you die. Hehehe. Tang Tang's laughter grew increasingly sinister. Are you feeling all over your body now? Slap. Chun Bo slapped Tang Tang across the face. I feel your mom. How dare you play tricks in front of me? Tang Tang covered her stinging face, dumbfounded, her brain momentarily short-circuiting. You aren't poisoned? Slap. Slap. 2 more slaps. Ah! Tang Tang screamed, her gaze fixed on the document bag on the table. If she remembered correctly, she should have controlled Tang Tang's body and placed the blood exquisite, a poison that even Grandmaster-level experts couldn't resist, into the document bag. Blood exquisite was one of the world's most potent poisons, colorless and odorless, killing people invisibly. Logically, the moment Chun Bo opened that document bag, even if he inhaled just a tiny bit, not even an immortal could save him. But at this moment, Chun Bo showed no signs of poisoning. He was so vigorous it was almost inhuman. Chun Bo grabbed Tang Tang by her collar. It seems you didn't just take over Tang Tang's consciousness. You also feel pain when her body is hurt, don't you? In that case, Chun Bo revealed a sly smile. Slap, slap, slap. 1 minute ago, Wan Yanjun, who had been terrified, finally mustered up the courage to sincerely apologize to Chen Bo again. They say you don't hit a smiling person. As long as he showed enough sincerity and gave Chun Bo several companies under his name, perhaps Chun Bo would let him off. With a nervous heart, he arrived outside the room where Chun Bo and Tang Tang were meeting. When Chun Bo came out, he would immediately kneel and beg for mercy. This was the only way he could think of to survive. Slap. Huh? As soon as he reached the door, a loud slap instantly caught his attention. Wasn't that Tang Tang's voice? Could President Bo be slapping Tang Tang openly at Tang Zhan's funeral? He immediately thought of scenes from Japanese movies about widows. President Bo really knows how to have fun. Next. Slap, slap, slap. Ah! Although he couldn't see the scene inside the room, Wan Yanjun could imagine how intense the battle was. What fierce fighting capability. Brute, brute. Tang Zhan's body hadn't even been cremated yet, and President Bo was already Tang Zhan's sister at his funeral, no less. This showed President Bo's ruthlessness. Even Tang Tang, the general manager of Shangtang Group, was powerless to resist and willingly succumbed. Suddenly, Wan Yanjun had a flash of inspiration. He finally thought of a way to reconcile with President Bo. But now, he absolutely couldn't interrupt President Bo's business. Having found a solution, Wan Yanjun quietly retreated. Chapter 214. Bastard! Suddenly, a fierce, tide-like aura erupted from Tang Tang. Tang Tang truly couldn't hold back anymore. He said with a look of horror, "Why aren't you poisoned?" At this moment, Tang Tang had also come to his senses. Chun Bo's ferocious appearance had made her lose confidence. So much so that a ridiculous thought suddenly arose in her mind. Did I remember incorrectly? Did I actually not put blood exquisite into this document bag? This made Tang Tang very curious, and he quickly snatched the document bag. She really wanted to know if she had made a mistake. Curiosity killed the cat. Tang Tang took a sniff at the document bag. Holy crap! It's poisonous! Tang Tang's face immediately lost its color in shock. He frantically took off his jacket and searched. He took off his shirt and searched. He took off his skirt and searched. Finally, he found a red pill in the back pocket of the skirt. He immediately swallowed it. Luckily, I prepared an antidote in advance. Tang Tang, who had swallowed the red pill, finally breathed a sigh of relief. Hey, this body isn't yours, so even if it gets poisoned to death, you won't die, right? Tang Tang's body stiffened. Oh, right. This isn't my body, what am I afraid of? Watching Tang Tang's bewildered performance, Chun Bo couldn't help but laugh. What exactly was this clown here for? Facing Chun Bo's ridicule, Tang Tang's face turned green. She had poisoned many people, but this was the first time she had encountered an oddity like Chun Bo. Among those she had poisoned, some had inhaled blood exquisite and, upon realizing they were poisoned, either begged for mercy, cursed their parents and ancestors, or fought back. But without exception, all of them eventually died suddenly. Some people were naturally cautious and didn't fall for it at all. There were also those who confidently believed they had an antidote and, after inhaling the poison, found it incurable. But Chun Bo was the only one who inhaled the poison and still remained full of vigor. This was blood exquisite, one of the world's most potent poisons. Even a Grandmaster-level expert couldn't withstand it, so how could he, a Qi-gathering second-level practitioner? Xuanwu symbolizes longevity and stability among the divine beasts. This small amount of blood exquisite was nothing to Chun Bo, who possessed the Xuanwu physique. It was like an anesthetic applied to a human body being injected into a giant whale. It had an effect, but it was negligible. Moreover, Chun Bo, with his Grandmaster-level medical skills, was equally proficient in toxicology. The moment he touched the document bag, he had already sensed the blood exquisite on it. Although blood exquisite was one of the world's most potent poisons, once an ordinary person came into contact with it, they were essentially finished. However, for Chun Bo, with his divine-level skills, it was just SOSO. He could completely seal his meridians with just the Tai Wei divine needles, protecting himself from the poison. It was just that all of Chun Bo's actions were extremely subtle. So subtle that even Tang Tang, who had orchestrated everything, couldn't detect them. Damn it! It's all Gu Xinzhong's fault, that idiot. Why did he say we needed to ensure foolproof safety? Do we really need to use poison against such a good-for-nothing? Tang Tang's face was ferocious, and a thick, inky black mist surged from his hand. The black mist continuously surged and rolled, finally condensing into a pitch-black blade. At this moment, Tang Tang's face was as cold as ice, and his autumn water-like eyes seemed to be frozen, staring at Chun Bo with immense coldness. Tang Tang was now unusually furious. This was the first time in his life he had been caught off guard. He was the notorious Poison Queen who killed invisibly with a smile, and that was exactly him. But now he was slapped dozens of times by this irritable man. Tang Tang had a characteristic. The angrier he got, the more enchanting his smile became. Suddenly, Tang Tang smiled brightly, like a blooming poppy, beautiful and enchanting yet containing deadly poison. You scum who doesn't understand how to cherish beauty, go to hell. Slap. Another resounding slap. Tang Tang hadn't finished speaking when Chun Bo's slap landed on her enchanting face again. What exactly are you? You don't even dare to show your true face, and you still want to kill me. The next second, a thick, black mist quickly enveloped Tang Tang's entire body, radiating murderous intent. However, she wasn't smiling this time. You ill-mannered slut, you actually dare to... Slap. Another slap. Chun Bo calmly rubbed his palm. I dare. So what? Good, very good. You've completely enraged me. Boom. Black smoke erupted from Tang Tang, wildly overflowing from his delicate body as its origin point. Slowly, the black smoke overflowing from Tang Tang recondensed in the air, forming a pitch-black figure. Although the facial features were unclear, the anger of this black mist could be felt. The aura and murderous intent of this black mist suddenly surged, releasing endless pressure. If Chun Bo hadn't had the Xuanwu physique, this pressure alone would have made him collapse. Through the Zhu Long divine sense, it was sensed that the power of this black mist had reached the Grandmaster realm. It seemed the Gu family had truly invested heavily to kill him. The black mist separated from Tang Tang's body, and Tang Tang, who had been slapped black and blue by Chun Bo, completely fainted. Ant, tremble. Today I will let you know how miserable the consequences of thoroughly angering a Grandmaster realm expert can be. As he spoke, the black mist floating in midair instantly vanished from its original spot, disappearing without a trace. Based on the aura alone, it could be determined that he was still within the room, preparing to make a move against him.
Chainboss pupils suddenly constricted.
He secretly thought, "What speed! My naked eyes couldn't even detect it. Grandmaster level, truly terrifying." Suddenly, countless pitch-black blade energies, carrying intense murderous intent, struck from all directions of the room. Chun Bo quickly activated Qilin's star step. His ghostly figure moved effortlessly amidst the countless pitch-black blade energies, leaving behind trails of afterimages. "You do have some skill. No wonder so many strong experts fell by your hand, but this is as far as you go." Suddenly, an incomparably sharp dark blade energy abruptly slashed out from Chun Bo's own shadow. Bang! This move caught Chun Bo off guard, and he took the hit squarely. However, under the protection of the Xuanwu physique and the Vajra Sutra, the black shadow merely drew a brilliant golden light on Chun Bo's skin. The blade energy failed to break through Chun Bo's defense. The blade energy was blocked, but Chun Bo still felt a pain like being struck by a blunt object. This was the first time Chun Bo had been hit in combat. This feeling made him extremely uncomfortable. Where is he? However, Chun Bo did not panic. His naked eyes couldn't see, but he had Zhulong divine sense. Hee. Let's see where you hide. Chun Bo suddenly spun around and punched a hanging painting behind him. Ah! Accompanied by a tragic scream, a pitch-black figure suddenly sprang out from the shadow behind the hanging painting. How is this possible? How could you possibly know I was hiding behind the hanging painting? The black shadow's face was twisted in furious rage.